Welcome to In a Few Words series, where we spotlight lawyers from Innangard member firms. Today, I'm delighted to be in Mexico City with Sofía Gómez from Assembla.
Thank you, Paloma.
Let me start by asking you, why did you decide to become an employment lawyer?
I didn't plan to be an employment lawyer. What I remember is that since I was a little girl, I want to be a lawyer. However, I didn't know which kind of lawyer. When I applied to my first job, the only position available was a litigator in employment. So I applied, I got the job, and I started going to the labor court. For me, it was super easy, this field of practice, because you only have one federal statute that applies to all private employment relationships. So actually, it was super easy to learn and study only one statute instead of like three or five different codes. For example, in other field of practice like tax, it was very funny for me because when I went to court, I got along with everyone, with the officers of the court, with the judges, with my counterparts. I do enjoy doing that, like going every day to court and say hello to everyone and like have a little fun, even if that was work. And the other thing which motivates me a lot to become an employment lawyer is that you never lose the human part in this field of practice, because even if you are negotiating or bargaining, you are interacting with individuals, even you have interests that are opposed. You need like to be like very kind to start negotiating something. So even if you are gonna dismiss someone, you have to be very respectful, because the other person that is in front of you, it's a human being.
That's very interesting. It seems that the human side of this practice area is something that employment lawyers feel very strongly about. Let's move on to the next question. What has been the best investment in your professional career?
I think that studying my LLM in the US, actually, I always wanted to study abroad, always, since I was a little girl. However, my parents were like very protective. They didn't want to, I go apart from them. So when I studied law, then I realized that it was very important to specialize more and more in their field of practice, and it was too expensive to go to study an LLM. So I remember that with my mother, we start saving a lot of money. I sold my car. I sold everything that I have in that time, and also my former firm gave me an allowance. Some people they told me like, you have 30, you are not young enough, you shouldn't go. But that's the important thing. I always dream about it. I don't care. I wanna. I have a husband at that time. He really support me. Like, no, you have to go, and it doesn't matter if you we're gonna live apart 1 year. And he motivates me a lot to go. And I think that that was the best investment that I could ever done. I was homesick at the beginning. It was a great opportunity to study US law, which I really like. It gave me a lot of knowledge and tools to explain American clients, like in a comparative way or an easy way to explain concepts or how you manage employment relationships here. Also, it helped me a lot to improve my English. And also, I got really good long friends from the LLM that we try to see each other every year. And it makes me value my home, my country. I grow on a personal and professional level. That's the best investment, I think.
It is an experience that makes you value what you have in your country of origin and what you find in other countries.
Exactly. Now, and I think that it opens your mind because you learn how to do things differently, how to live differently, how to live without your comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on. Sometimes what people say influence us. So my next question is, what's the smartest thing that anybody has ever said to you and who said it?
First, my daddy. My dad is of course my hero, but also it's my coach, my life and professional coach. I don't know, but he really gives me always really good advices. And I remember that he's always telling me like, Sophie, whatever you're gonna do in life, you should be very analytic and enjoy the ride. Even if you will find a lot of obstacles, enjoy the ride, enjoy the process, be patient, because if you work hard, it will pay off.
That's so inspiring, Sofia. Moving on, can you tell us about a short term goal?
I would like to study French because, first of all, I love how it sounds. Oh my God, for me, it's so romantic, so nice. Even it's the cultural sound, it's hard because we are not used to. We're Mexican, and it's not a common sounds that we used to do. Second, because it's one of the official languages of the ILO, so the International Labor Organization. I think it's very important, and it will help me to leverage my career if I study French. I have really good friends that speak French. And most of the parts that I like to visit in Europe, they speak French. So for every instance that I can see it, it's a good reason to study French. Well, you will be able to practice with other Innangard members, right? Of course. Also, that's a good reason.
Let's move on to the next question. If you were not a lawyer, what profession would you have chosen and why?
I would be a chef. It's not so different from law because it's very hard to become a good chef. It's a lot of time spending learning new techniques, how to cook. You must be patient because you cannot accelerate the process. I am a foodie person actually, and I really like to eat very well. When I enjoy that kind of dishes, it gives me a lot of joy. So I think that it will give me a lot of pleasure to prepare a dish for someone, and that person will value that dish, or that gesture for me, and that he or she will enjoy that dish and will be having like a little uh precious moment that will be great.
That's a very nice answer. I can see the relation between chef and lawyer now. Our next question is: do you have a childhood memory?
I used to ride. I used to have a horse. It was called Pambazo. You will understand, this kind of like sandwich, Mexican style sandwich, but it's like the Pambazo is really big. So actually, one my I used to call this horse Pambazo because it was super fat. It was super strong. So it was like super huge. So I used to ride since I was little, until he died. I always like wake up very excited to go to the ranch and just ride. It blows my mind. Do you still ride? No, I don't. Now I'm very thankful with my parents because they were sponsoring that sport for me. But now I think it's very expensive to buy a really good horse and provide all the maintenance.
Well, at least you had a good experience riding it and enjoyed it. Let's move on to the next question. What inspires you?
Meeting new people and listening to empowering women, hearing their stories, how they overcome obstacles, how they kind of manage that they're having four kids and they are chairs of an organization, but also they are partners of a law firm, or it doesn't matter if they are a lawyer or not. For example, like these kind of athletes that they have swam the Canal de la Mancha, and also there's a Naya who swam from Cuba to Miami, and how they share that knowledge and their experience, that's motivating me a lot. Incredible that women and that they exist and how they did things.
Being a lawyer is demanding. How do you relax?
I love to sleep. I can go to bed like 8 p.m. and wake up until 9 a.m. I love to sleep. Another thing that I love is going to the beach. Puerto Vallarta, it's one of my favorite places in earth. I love like to feel the sand and the sea in my toes, the warm weather.
Oh, it's amazing that you can go there and switch off. We've got to our last question, which is: can you recommend us a movie or a book related to law?
First of all, of course, one of my favorite series would be Suits. After that, my favorite movies is The Judge with Downey Jr. The second one will be Devil's Advocate with Keanu Reeves and also Al Pacino. That is great. And the third one, it will be A Time to Kill with Matthew McConaughey. And if I can recommend an author, John Grisham, he's very famous and he has like 20 or more novels.
Thank you for the recommendation. We have arrived at the end of the interview. I would like to thank you for welcoming me today in Assembla's office and enjoy this wonderful view and to meet you and get to know you a bit better. Thanks, Sofia.
Thank you, Paloma. It was also my pleasure. Thank you so much for the time.